All right, so let's derive the last formula. That's the sum of a GP, right? So how do we, so we have the terms here, right? So the terms are AR squared and up until here. So you might ask why ARN. Okay, we don't have ARN here because remember we built these terms from the previous term. Okay, we built these terms from the previous term. So the ratio that we're going to use will refer to the previous term. So you remember this is 1, and so we have power 1 there. This is term number 2, right? You'll see we have 1. This is term number 3, we have this. So the final term, which is AN, okay, we'll use the ratio from this ratio from the previous term, sort of. Okay, so this is what happens here. Now, if you see, we have a sum. So what is the principle here? I think that's the first question we need to ask. The principle here is going to be that we need to subtract these two. We need to, first of all, obviously, we need to state the sum, which is going to be all these terms added together. Then the principle is that we are going to create another equation here, okay, which is this one. How do we create it? We create by multiplying the first equation by r. So we have we have r Sn, then we have ar. This will become ar if I multiply with r there. This one will become ar squared, and then that one will become ar3, and then this one will become arn. How it becomes, because we're saying that if we are multiplying these two, right? Remember our exponents, we said that it's the same as adding the exponents here. So we'll say n minus 1 plus 1. So these cancel out, and then we have n. So that's why we have n here, right? So now the next principle is that we're going to try and subtract these two. So I like to do the first one minus the second one, but you can do second minus first because second is bigger than the first, right? So now what do we have here? We're subtracting these two terms. What will be easier to do is that we look for similar terms. So here and that, they're going to cancel each other because we're subtracting. This one and that one are going to cancel. Now look at how this is happening. So meaning that this one will cancel with this one, right? And the term that will just be before this one here, right, is going to cancel with this one. Okay, we could have actually written here n minus 2. Then once we multiply with r, we have had this term here and that term there. So these two would have cancelled out. Okay, but doesn't matter. We have this and then we've cancelled there, right? So because we know that that term actually exists before this one, so we cancel it, right? So now we're going to have a few terms that will be left. So if we check here, everything is gone till we have this one. Here, everything is gone, only A is left. So we're subtracting the first from, the second from the first, meaning that we're going to have A left here. Then we're going to take away this one, which is ARN, like that. Now we can factorize this side. So we can say Sn, we factorize. Then we're going to get 1 here because it's the same, minus r. Then this side, we're going to factorize a. So we're going to have a 1 minus r n, like that. You can see that we are trying to solve for Sn. So we're going to divide throughout by 1 minus r. So what happens here? What happens is that these cancel out because this is 1 and that's 1. So now we have Sn is equal to A, which is our first term, and then we're going to have 1 minus Rn, like that, over 1 minus R. Right? So this is what, this is how we're going to derive this formula. Now remember the principle here was creating the second equation and then subtracting the two equations. Right, so we have our formula for sum, okay, which is here. Now, when we are approaching infinity, okay, something happens. All right. So let's go back to our elementary mathematics or high school mathematics. So when you have a number like this, half, and then you try to square it, this will give me 1 over 4. Now we know that 1 over 4 is 0.25, right? So let's try to increase that number there, okay? Or let's try to square this one again. So if I have 1 over 4, and then I try to square it, this one will give me 1 over 16. 1 over 16 will be a smaller fraction, okay? 16 will be 0.0625, something like that. So if I got 1 over 6, if I got this one and squared it again, okay, I'll get an even smaller number, meaning that if I continued up to infinity, repeating this process, right, I'm going to get very close to 0. Okay, almost a 0. So this will become a 0. And so if we came here, right, and we say that n is approaching infinity or n is at infinity, we're going to have this, right, like that. Then this will become what? So this one we say that it's going to get close to 0. So meaning that we're going to have that 1 over 1 minus r. So at infinity, or when you approach infinity, this is going to be the sum of a GP. Very easy to derive. All right, so all the best as you study, and please subscribe to the channel and help us to grow. All the best.